But $40 to $60, it's just too low. It's too low to be able to grow your business. You need to have just the best organic skills with organic content and guerrilla marketing. If you are not hauling the dog poop and you don't plan on hauling it, I suggest getting a car like that, especially if it has a hatchback. What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Kruppen, and on today's episode, it's a Q&A episode. We are going to cover topics such as, am I priced high compared to my local competitors? How long did it take me to reach 120 plus customers? Attaching jobs versus emailing customers. Jobber question. Using an employee leasing agency for health insurance, buying a used car to save on travel cost, referral system automations, discounts versus tracking, adjusting to seasonal daylight changes. Do I scoop daily, weekly, or on weekends only? What to do when the poop is soft and stuck in the grass? Average cost of liability insurance per scooper. So if you are interested in hearing all about that, stay tuned. But first, I want to thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with me. I'm happy to be back in the podcast studio and recording regular scheduled content. I hope that you are off to a wonderful week, and thank you for starting your week off with me. These episodes drop on Monday, and I know Mondays can be mundane. So I just want to say thank you very, very much. Now, normally this is where I go ahead and I promote, Poop Scoop Millionaire and Jobber and Review Harvest and whoever else I feel compelled to talk about here on my platform. But I'm going to do something a little bit different before we hop into it. I'm going to promote myself, and it feels a little weird. It feels a little awkward because for a while I've been promoting other people, and it's easier. Honestly, it's easier to promote somebody else's product than to promote myself. And that's something that I'm honestly working through. So thank you so much for working through this with me. But I did put together a little ad read for my new school community. So if you could bear with me, hang out. Let's get through this together because I want to tell you about She Built That. This episode is brought to you by She Built That, my community for women who are ready to build something on their own, even if they have no clue where to start. Whether you're just getting the idea off the ground or you're trying to scale to 7 figures, She Built That has the tools, support, and accountability to help you. I, Erica, am teaching the basics, and my business partner, Trish, is dropping straight fire for the women ready to go big on their business. Trish has a multiple 7-figure real estate company here in Michigan. And as you guys know, I've been able to grow my business from $0 to $250,000 per year. And so I continue to create the basics because that is what I'm good at. I have not scaled further than that. So pairing with Trish was perfect as she has skill sets that I haven't developed yet. And I look up to Trish a lot. And throughout this whole journey with creating content, I've been asked, do you do coaching? Do you have a community? I tried to do a YouTube community over there. I didn't like it. For the past month or so, Trish and I have been working very hard on getting a community together of like-minded women. If you yourself are listening to this and this sounds interesting to you and you want to be in a community where it's a safe space, a space where we can have the conversations that we want to have, we want to uplift each other, and we want to learn from each other. There are other people that watch my channel that aren't just pooper scoopers. And so I wanted to be able to offer a space for that. And also, I have a lot of men that watch my channel. Actually, more than half of my audience is men. And you might be like, well, why would you create a community for women? Well, I often get asked by the men if I offer some type of coaching because their wife is interested in starting her own small business. And now I do. Now I have a community for that. So if you're a man and you're like, this would be perfect for my wife because she's trying to get things figured out and I don't necessarily know how to help her, send her my way. Me and Trish and the 51 other community members that are hanging out with us over on school would love to help. And the community is just going to continue to grow. Okay, that was my really long ad read. That was only supposed to be like a minute or two, but that's okay. So now let's actually get into the episode. Question number 1. The original goal was, the first question is, my goal is to charge $80 a month, but competitors are doing $40 to $60. Are my prices too high? Now, I do have reservations about offering pricing information suggestions because I don't know where you live. I don't know what your market looks like, but $40 to $60, it's just too low. It's too low to be able to grow your business. $40 to $60 are for franchises or for people that don't plan on growing out of the job. If you want to continue to be scooping yourself and not hire staff and not level up your equipment like vehicles, you don't want to be able to provide benefits for employees. If you don't want to be able to do all of that, having your prices this low, $40 to $60, works because you're basically just paying yourself. You're not building a business. You're not setting a business up for financial success. I would suggest doing some research on these companies that are charging $40 to $60. Look at their websites, look at their branding, look at their vehicles, look at their reviews. Do you want to look like that company? If you want to look like that company, then try to match their prices. What I did is I seen that a lot of people, companies in my area were charging less than, and I decided I didn't want to be like them. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be in my own category. So that's why I went all in on my branding and really started to develop a personal brand and started to become like a staple within the community. And because of that, my prices needed to be higher. I would say your prices need to reflect the type of company that you want to be. I don't want to drag this out, but really think about that. Look at the other companies and how they're set up because just from looking at the price point, they either have to be a franchise company, which we can't compete with franchises, or they are companies that the owner is probably still working in the field. And it's up to you. It depends on what kind of business you want to have. Question number 2, the original question was, how long did it take you to get to 120 to 130 clients per month? I know you don't want to hear this, but it happened within my first full year of business. I had a full route within the first full like 20 or first 12 months, I believe. I was making 6 figures by that time. Times are different now. I'm going to be super transparent with you. This was 7 years ago. This is my 7th year in business. There wasn't nearly as much competition. Facebook was a lot different and there was less rules in the buy sell trade groups. And I posted a very controversial photo in a lot of buy sell trade groups. This was when you could post in more than 20. I posted in like 47, I think the number was, or somewhere around there at one shot. And it went crazy. It absolutely went crazy. And my business, essentially, in my mind, it kind of like blew up from there. And I kept the momentum going. Today, in 2025, this business is still very lucrative. It's still a very doable business. But if you're looking to blow your business up very quickly, there's a couple things that you need to think about. Either you need to have just the best organic skills with organic content and guerrilla marketing and have so much hustle and having people help you. Maybe your family's out there, divide and conquer. You're posting in all the groups. You're reaching out to all the friends. You're basically acting like one of those like multi-level marketers, like network marketing that the women do that sell like the tummy wraps and the flat belly tea and whatever else is being sold. You have to be like that where they're like sliding into DMs like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but blah, 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 blah. Like literally stuff like that, like shameless. Okay. Or you got to have deep pockets. You have to have money to put in advertisement and you have to know how to spend that money and allocate that money. That is the truth behind all of this. If you are just hoping to grow your business really quickly with not really knowing too much and just people sharing your stuff like wildfire, it's not going to happen unless it's some crazy circumstance like this one kid that is in my local area. He was a teenager and he had this flyer that he made. It was very humble, like super humble. It was just a flyer. He's a college kid. He's just trying to make a little extra cash. One of the customers that he scooped for took a picture of that flyer and posted it on his behalf in the one of the groups, and it just went crazy. It absolutely blew up and he was able to start a business. He was working sun up to sundown, stuff like that. It's very rare and it's few and far between that that's going to happen. So I would say give you like now, I would say give yourself a full year. maybe even 2 years, unless you know people and you are in the communities where you're getting resources and you're paying to play. So it really all depends on what your skill set is, how much money you have to spend, who you know, and how well connected you are. Because comparing yourself to me 7 years ago, it doesn't make sense at this point. And it's I would love to tell you that, yeah, it's going to be super easy for you. It's not. It's not going to be easy. It's a hustle, and and it's just getting harder and harder. And I know some people will be like, "Yeah, cuz you, big mouth, over here talking about the industry online." Yeah, maybe. I'll be waiting for my hate mail to come in the mail. Sorry that went a little sideways, but I hear people that are taking out loans and getting themselves into debt to start this business because they have unrealistic expectations with it, and it just breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart because this business is simple, but it's not easy. It's simple in the concept of what you have to do, but it's not easy. It's not a get rich quick, and I don't want anybody to ever think that it is, and I don't want you to beat yourself up if you're growing this business and you're having slow growth. It's been very slow this summer. Very. All of us have been incredibly slow, which has been nice in a sense of I've been able to like hang out and rest, but it's not good for the bank account. That's for sure. So thank you for your question. Next, number 3. When using Jobber, do you attach jobs to clients without sending an automatic email? No, I always send like an email or text message. When I set up how it comes in, there's a request that comes in. I send them the quote. Once they approve the quote, I then ask them a couple more questions. And then when I set up their job in Jobber, I send them their notification of when their visit's going to be. If you don't want to do that, you can turn that off, I believe, in their profile. If you don't want to automatically send them reminders. And if you don't want to send anybody reminders or text messages, you can turn that feature off in the settings. But it's such a good feature that I wouldn't want to do that unless I was using some other type of automation that was like better. But yeah, I always send it. I always send the automation. Number 4, what if I use an employee leasing agency to offer benefits? Have you tried that? No, I have not. No, I don't. My business isn't big enough yet to offer health insurance or any of that. I'm still at that 250,000. I haven't been able to hit 300,000 yet. Like I kind of like waver. I'd have to pull up my numbers to see what I'm projected to hit this year, but I don't think I'm going to hit 300,000 this year. But next year, it's going down. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how much you need to be making in your business to be able to provide health insurance. So no, sorry, I can't help you there. My apologies. But if you find out information and you want to bring that back to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Question number 5. Would you recommend buying a used Honda Fit or similar vehicle to save on travel costs early on? Ooh, this is a great question. There's a couple layers to this, if you don't mind. First things first, a Honda Fit. I love Honda. I've got the Honda HRVs. If you are not hauling the dog poop and you don't plan on hauling it, I suggest getting a car like that, especially if it has a hatchback. It's perfect. Works so well. And if you needed to, you can put a hitch on the back of it, I believe. With the Honda HRV, you can. And you can put a cargo trailer on the back of it. I did that with my Honda, with one of them. It's no longer with us. And definitely buy it used. If you can afford to buy it used, I would say don't get car loans. If you can avoid putting yourself into debt, I 110% stand behind this. I started this business debt free, okay? And then I wanted to aggressively grow my brand because I had a vision in my head of what I wanted. And so I invested into the branding, I invested into new cars, all of it. I probably went a little faster than I should. I got a little too big for my britches, but I wanted to because I had big plans for last year. I was blowing this business up. Well, it just so happened that there was other plans and 2 of those vehicles got totaled and they both had notes on them. So the down payment that I put down, the wraps that I put on it, like all of that stuff just completely went to waste. And luckily I had gap insurance. So the vehicles did get paid off eventually, but it took time. I mean, the last one took like 4 or 5 months. So I was still making like 4 or 5 months worth of payments on this vehicle. at a pretty steep interest rate. So going back and looking at everything, I would suggest not going to a dealership and buying a vehicle from a dealership. I would try to find a private owner that is going to sell it to you. Find something that is in good condition, like do your research. And if you can pay cash, pay cash. I mean, if you have to take out a loan, try to see if you can like get it from somebody else. Try not to get it from the bank with like, I think at one point I have a really good credit. Okay. Me and my husband both have good credit. And the interest rate was at like 7%. My husband's interest rate on his truck is at like 8%. Like it's crazy. My one truck that's getting ready to be paid off is at like a 4% or a 4.5. From what I heard, that's like unheard of these days. So yes, I would say you didn't ask about like leasing or whatever, but try not to go in debt for your business. I'm serious. Unless you know how to leverage debt, you know how to manage money, you know how to move things around and you're experienced, then that's a total different story. But if you were like me when you were kind of just getting started and you really don't know that much, try to avoid it like the plague. Get something used, get something small, get something that is good on gas, depending on where you live. If you live anywhere with like snow, if it has all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, I would highly recommend that. The Honda HRVs have all-wheel drive. That's the reason why I invested into those. But my next one's gonna be paid cash. I'm not going back to that dealership. My sales guy, he like texts me so often. I'm like about to block his number. Like, you're not getting no more money out of me. I'm not being a sucker no more. All right, cool. Thank you for your question. Can referrals be automated for a discount or does it just track referral counts? I think this one's for Jobber. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I need to do some research onto this because I haven't gotten referrals. People aren't referring right now. I have the campaign set up, but nobody's referring. Everybody's being stingy. So I'm not even sure how it works. Sorry. How do I handle changing daylight hours? Later days in the summer, flashlights in the winter. No, I'm not doing flashlights at night. It's not happening, which I've done it in the past. I truly have. Basically, you just need to rework your schedule. Okay. So, say for instance, if you're working a 10-hour day in the summer, you're going to have to shorten that and then move those houses elsewhere. So, you're going to have to rearrange your route and know like here we can only scoop from like 8 to 4. 4:30 is getting a little bit too late during the like winter, early spring. 8 to 4. Sometimes 8:30 to 4 or 4:30. So it's a nice short day. That's not for a long period of time. So for the longest time, I had Fridays open because we were scooping just Monday through Thursday. And so I had some wiggle room to be able to move some people over to Friday. But now that I have two scoopers, now I'm able to kind of shift that around and figure out where I can put people. So it really all breaks down to figuring out how much daylight you have and figuring out where you can move people. And you just communicate with your customers and just say, hey, listen, we're running out of daylight. And so I got to move you. Simple as that. And let them know where they're going to be moved. But I don't want to do the flashlights in people's backyards unless I absolutely have to. Do I service clients daily, multiple times per week, or just once a weekend? Well, let me answer this two ways. One, if you're asking me if I personally do this, I am not in the field right now. I have not consistently been in the field since April of this year. I'm fully staffed. So I'm only in the field if I need to cover. Okay. But having said that, our service frequency, for the most part, most of our customers are one time a week. Then the next most customers are going to be bi-weekly. And then we have our twice a week customers. And then we have our one-time cleans. I completely eliminated one time a month customers. Thank you for your question. What do I do when poop is soft and stuck in the grass? You just do the best you can. Scrape it with the side of the rake. If it needs to be hosed down, or if you offer the deodorizing treatment, the pump sprayer that you would have on your back, you would just spray that area down. If it's a consistent issue, you got to communicate with the customer and figure out like why. Why does the dog have diarrhea? What's going on? What can we do to rectify this situation? We don't get a lot of customers that are just the dog poop is just really, really loose, because a lot of times either they're on medication or the dog's getting ready to die, or there's some type of like health issues to where they have some type of like bacteria. And then we stop servicing them because we're not going to scoop a yard where the dog has parvo or worms or something like that. I hope that answered your question. How much does liability insurance usually cost per pooper scooper each month? This is hard for me to answer because my insurance is all high. I mean, for my auto insurance, my general liability, my workman's comp, I pay 1,000 and some change per month. I've also had 2 vehicle accidents, and I've had 2 workman's comp claims on my policy. But I remember in the beginning when I first got it started, I want to say it was under $300 a year. Like it was cheap, or maybe even $500 per year because it was just me. But once you start adding staff, then you're going to start adding problems, and then you start adding expenses, and everything just gets more expensive. That's the truth. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm really happy that I got to answer these questions. I'm doing the best to answer them the best that I can. I know some of those I got pretty direct, but there's just a lot. There's just a lot going on with, people and new people coming into the industry and putting information out there, and just, I don't know. I just want you guys to have a realistic expectation of, there's good and bad, man. And depending on the mindset that I have that day, I'm more focused on one or the other, but I think you get you get a realistic view of, yeah, this is cool. It's a good business, but it's business, and business can be good and it can suck. You got to take the good with the bad. And remember, I want you to remember this. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't started your business yet because you're kind of like, I don't know, should I do it? Should I not do it? I want you to really look at who you are as a person. Okay. Me and my husband just kind of went through this. My husband started a business last year. I helped him. I basically built this thing from the ground up. He went and acquired all the equipment, which means he acquired a lot of debt. He acquired a lot of debt, which I was not fully aware of what was going on. Our communication wasn't the best at that time. And because of that, it put a lot of strain. It put a lot of stress on our family. It put a lot. And so we're in the process right now of selling all of that stuff off because we had to have some difficult conversations. And he's not fit for business ownership. And I know that's harsh to say. And sometimes I feel like the B word, right? I just feel like, oh, you really shouldn't talk about your husband like that. But we got to have these type of conversations and be realistic that not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's cut out to be a successful entrepreneur. Last year, I didn't think that I was cut out for entrepreneurship. I wanted to throw in the towel, but I pushed through it day in and day out. I cried. I fought. I figured the things out, and I've come through on the other side. If you can't handle this stuff emotionally, it is going to destroy you. And so really think about who you are and what you want to tolerate and what you want your life to look like. I enjoy this kind of stuff. Like, I didn't enjoy it in the moment, but now looking back, knowing that I overcame that, it's like, you did that, girl. You and the Lord. You and the Lord did that. So if you're struggling in business and you're not taking care of what you need to take care of, like if you're not getting your Google reviews like you should after you're doing jobs for people, if you're not managing your money and you're not putting money away for taxes, if you're not creating the content and you're not treating your customers well, and you're not planning for the future with this business, it's like, really think about it. Like, are you just doing it because you want to make some money and you want like a job, or are you wanting to build a business? Because building a business is a whole skill set in itself. And that's what I really struggled with. From 0 to 100,000 was easy because it was all me. It was all me. My husband was helping. It was easy because I was out there doing the work. Going from, I think it was like 125 or so up to 250. That was a little bit more challenging because I needed to rely on staff. But going from 250 to the next level has been increasingly more difficult because I didn't have the skill sets to get there. I could not handle the stress. I couldn't think straight. I didn't have the discipline. The discipline is a huge thing. And a lot of times, with a lot of these groups, and you see people online, we're comparing themselves, but we don't know where those people are in life. We don't know where they're at mentally. We don't know where they're at spiritually, emotionally. With business, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And I realized I had a ton of growing up to do, like a ton of it. I really had to get myself in order and get myself into check. And I had to do a lot of pruning, and the Lord was doing a lot of work with me. I didn't realize what was going on a couple years ago with losing the friends that I had and then quit drinking alcohol. There was a pruning phase that was going on to be able to get me to where I'm at today, to be able to achieve the things and be able to be there for my husband and be level-headed and have these conversations. Because in relationships, it's like give and take, right? There's times where Josh leads and he's strong, and then there's times where he's not as strong as I would like for him to be. And that's where I have to like step up and not have resentment and understand that he has things that he's going through as well. And looking back on what we went through last year, would I have done things differently? I've toggled with this because it really made things like this winter was very, very tough. Like financially, we weren't doing okay. And I even told him, I said, going into this winter with you not, when you're basically just covering the bills of the business, what's going to happen when winter hits again? I don't know if we're going to make it through another winter because, yeah, like my business, I'm making money from my business. And yeah, I have my social media business, but now my social media business. So basically, I had Croup and Spoop and Scoopin', and then I took money from that and then put it into KPS Media to build KPS Media up to what it is now. And then now I'm taking money from KPS Media to build up She Built That. So it's kind of like rinse and repeat to help cash flow the other businesses so I don't have to take out any loans. I don't know what we would do this winter. It would be very, very, very tough this winter. I would have to be selling so much stuff. I would turn into just a nonstop ad over here on the YouTube channel, be trying to sell God knows who what. And that's not what I want. I'm like, dude, no. So we just had some honest conversations and it took a while for him to hear it. No, it took a minute for him to listen, hear it, accept it, and then take action. That's what he's doing right now. And woo, man, he's moving quick. And come to find out, which I knew this, I don't think he knew it. It's a little sneaky of me. My cell phone bill for the business has actually not been coming out of the business account. It's been coming out of our personal for the past, like, I don't know, 6 years. So he's like, that's it. We're splitting up our cell phones. So you're moving your two phones and your tablet over to the business line and your bank account's taking it over. I was like, rude. He's not playing around. It taught him a lot. So I think back and I'm like, would I have not been supportive of him if I would have just shut him down? Be like, no, I don't know what to tell you. You're not starting this business. I'm not helping you out. I'm not building a brand. I'm not opening Google. I'm not getting the website. You're not taking out any loans. If you do this, I'm leaving you. I could have easily done that. I think that needed to happen to really solidify things for him and for us to be able to work through this and problem solve with respect with one another. So I don't think I would have stopped him. He needed this. And sometimes we need to go through things to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys. I'm so incredibly happy to be back in the seat where we talk about real life, real business, real experiences, and real life expectations. And until next time, bye.